Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to my first build video. A couple months ago my daughter asked me to make a box as a gift for a friend of hers at her baby shower. The only requirement for the box is that it hold 4x6 cards for recipes or notes of encouragement or whatever they give at baby showers. I made the box out of reclaimed maple from an old bar top that a friend of mine gave me, a small piece of pallet wood with an interesting grain for the top, and I trimmed it all out with walnut that I had laying around the shop.
Using a sample 4x6 card, I marked the inside of the board that I'm going to use for the sides. Then using my combination square, I mark 45-degree angles out to the outside. That will give me the outside dimensions of the front and the back. Now with my table saw blade set to a 45-degree angle and using my small table saw sled, cutting the corners. This initial corner, I'm cutting both sides of it in such a way that I'll have continuous grain running around the outside. Unfortunately, after the initial cut, I screwed it up. I don't have continuous grain around the rest of the corners of the box. I guess this is a design modification. While my blade is still set at a 45-degree angle, I cut slots in the corners to hold splines. Here I'm using the board for the bottom of the box to set the fence to cut grooves in the side to receive the bottom. My dado stack can't cut a groove as narrow as I would like, so after the initial cuts, I tap the fence over just a little and recut the grooves a second time to get it as wide as I want. Now using my dado stack, I cut a shallow groove around the inside of the box. This is where the top is going to separate from the bottom. After temporarily putting the sides together and measuring them to get the dimensions, I cut the bottom and the top to size. Okay, these are all the parts of the box. This is the top, again cut out of a piece of pallet wood. On the sides, as you can see, I cut a groove rather than a rabbet. I did it this way so that it sits up higher than the sides of the box. Gives me a recess to put trim into. Once the trim's in, it'll all be flush with the top of the box. The bottom of the box has a more conventional rabbet. That's cut in such a way that the bottom will be flush. The sides of the box are held together with splines. As you can see, it holds together without glue, so I've got that going for me. Now we're on to the glue up. This is where I found that the splines were a little too snug and the grooves for the splines were deeper than they needed to be. So once you introduce glue, it became a little difficult to get it all together. I'm not gluing the top or the bottoms, just gluing at the corners. I've edited out all the wailing and gnashing of teeth. Here I'm cutting off the top of the box. Before I put it together, I marked where the shallow groove was on the inside of the box. I'm making the cut right down the middle of that shallow groove. Best way to do this is to cut almost all the way through the side, leaving a little bit of wood left to cut away with a knife. I set my saw a little too high. The top fell into the blade, so now I have to do some corrective sanding. This is one of several strips of walnut that I cut out to trim out the box. I prefer to cut the trim my little miter box with a razor saw rather than a miter saw. Once all the trim's glued on, it's just a question of sanding it up to 320 grit and a couple of coats of spray-on lacquer, and we're done. Thanks for watching.